That summer seemed hotter than any before. In the graduation photo, the girl's smile was sweet, and behind her, a boy in a white shirt grinned mischievously. Their meeting was in the summer, their parting too, and his little Rose was forever captured in that summer heat. Did I scare you, little one? Yeah. Don't be afraid. Seriously, won't you go out with me, little one? Catch me, and I'll think about it. Wait for me in the next life, okay? I don't wait for liars. Have a candy, you'll feel better. I've had so many candies, why am I still not happy? You have to eat, you know. Be good. Your stomach is delicate. I'm not being good. When are you coming back to coax me? Chapter 1. The encounter was in high summer, and the parting was also in high summer. His little Rose is forever hidden in that high summer. Susie. September 1st, 2015. The summer in City A was extremely hot and dry. Tianling packed milk into Jiang Qiao's bag and reminded her, Qiao Qiao, the milk is in your bag, and there's hot water and medicine in there too. Okay, I'm leaving, Mom. The girl smiled sweetly, wearing a light-colored dress that revealed slender, fair legs. Even after Jiang Qiao disappeared from sight, Tianling hadn't recovered. She was a little worried. In her first year of high school, Jiang Qiao was diagnosed with stomach cancer, late-stage stomach cancer. The doctor said there was no possibility of a cure, that she had at most 3 years left, and that she should go do what she wanted to do. Tianling and Zhang Jian worked outside the home year-round, leaving Jiang Qiao alone at home. When they did come home, it was just endless arguments. The day she fainted, it was Aunt Lu who took her to the hospital and called them back. They took her diagnosis and argued in the doorway for a long time. Zhang's father said, It's all your fault for not being home to take care of our child. You didn't even know she was so sick. Tianling retorted sarcastically, Were you ever home? Have you ever cared about anything related to our child? Zhang's father snorted coldly. Jiang Qiao's head ached from the noise. She said weakly, Can you please stop? I want to rest. The two instantly fell silent. Tianling tucked her in, and watching the closed-eyed Jiang Qiao, she silently shed tears. In the hospital corridor, the sound of two people arguing in low voices could be heard. Jiang Qiao hadn't fallen asleep. She listened to the voices outside the door, clenching the bedsheet and then releasing it. She opened her eyes and stared at the ceiling for a long time. Later, Jiang Qiao said she wanted to go to school in City A, and the two immediately arranged for her transfer. When the transfer was finalized, Jiang Qiao immediately called Jiang Zhishu. Jiang Zhishu was clearly taken aback after hearing her words, and then asked her, Where are you going to school? City A number 6 high school. Jiang Zhishu asked, Which class? Class 17. Okay, take care of yourself. I'll come see you when I have time, kiddo. Don't let me see you get skinny. Okay. Jiang Zhishu was Jiang Qiao's best friend. One looked flamboyant and bright, the other quiet and well-behaved. The one who looked flamboyant was also very gentle and caring, while the one who looked quiet and well-behaved also had a rebellious side, like a thorny little rose. CG, there's a new student transferring to our class. Yang Shikuan turned his head and said to the boy behind him. The boy behind him was wearing a school uniform, with the top button of his shirt undone, revealing a delicate collarbone. He had phoenix eyes and fair skin. Hearing this, he raised his eyelids slightly and said, Don Don, where did you hear that? Just today, CG. I heard it's a boy, and supposedly a top student. A boy, a top student. Susie repeated it. He wasn't interested. He reached out and knocked Yang Shikuan on the head. Were you eavesdropping again? Yang Shikuan felt a little wronged. Go, I wasn't eavesdropping. Today, Lao Fong was chatting with someone in the office, and I overheard. By the end of the morning, it had spread throughout the class that a boy, supposedly a top student, was transferring to class 17. Afternoon. Class, we have a new student joining us. Let's welcome our new classmate. The thin man on the podium finished speaking and looked towards the door. Many students below craned their necks to see what this top student looked like. Jiang Qiao slowly walked onto the podium, her voice gentle. Hello everyone, my name is Jiang Qiao. Susie looked up. So this is the male top student Yang Shikuan was talking about? The girl was very pretty and slender, wearing a light purple dress. Her eyes were extremely beautiful, like watery apricot pits, and she had shallow dimples when she smiled. Damn, she's beautiful, a boy below catcalled. Susie saw the new student's ears turn a light pink. Fang Zixin looked around, pointed in one direction and said to Jiang Qiao, There's an empty seat back there. Can you sit there? Okay, thank you, teacher. Jiang Qiao smiled at Fang Zixin and walked straight towards Susie's direction. She pulled out the chair and sat down beside him. Susie was a problem student. He fought, skipped classes, slept during lessons and often disregarded classroom rules. Therefore, Fang Zixin had him sit in the back without a desk mate. Susie was about to lower his head to sleep when he felt the person beside him lean closer, her voice small. Classmate, what's your name? Susie. After he finished speaking, he saw her smile, then quickly turn away. The first class was English. The English teacher was a strict middle-aged man, and many students in the class had heard of his reputation outside of school. He entered the classroom, first looked around, and placed the English textbook on the desk. Open your English books to page 130. We're going to cover this text. He walked to the last row and saw that Susie was sleeping again, and that the girl beside him didn't have a book on her desk. He was furious. He first slammed his hand on the desk, then said, Susie, sleep, sleep, sleep. Don't you know it's class time? I see you're sleeping so soundly. Do you want me to get you a blanket? So you don't catch a cold? Sure, thank you, teacher. The students in the class wanted to laugh but didn't dare. Their faces hurting from holding it in. Chansong felt he had lost face and turned his anger towards the girl beside him. And you didn't even bring your book to class. How are you supposed to learn? Is this your attitude towards studying? I have to say, what's wrong with your class? You're already in your second year of high school, and there's no learning atmosphere at all. Some students don't even bring their books. Before he could finish, an English book was thrown onto Jiang Qiao's desk. Susie said, Dan Dan, she's a new student. I'll stand outside. With that, he walked out without giving Chansong a second glance. Chansong was so angry at Susie that his chest hurt. He looked at Jiang Qiao, who had lowered her head. Teacher was wrong about you. Jiang Qiao met, her gaze turning to the boy outside. The boy was leaning against the wall, standing straight, lost in thought. As soon as class ended, Yang Shikuan ran out, making Chansong curse from behind. They're already in their second year and still don't know how to study. They run out as soon as class ends. It'll be a miracle if they get into college. Only after Chansong left did the class relax. Susie looked up at Yang Shikuan. What? Siege, I've never seen you stand up for a girl before. Have you taken a liking to her? Susie cursed, you bastard. Then shook his head. No. He didn't want to stay in class anyway, and besides, if she kept getting scolded, a good student like her would probably cry. Jiang Qiao, who had appeared behind them at some point, carefully called out, Susie. Susie looked up at her, his tone lazy. What is it? Today, thank you. The girl's voice was very soft. Susie chuckled. It's no big deal. Go inside. Jiang Qiao looked at him, seeming to want to say something but hesitating, then slowly went inside. She looked back at Susie outside the door again. Having him stand outside for a whole class, was it really okay? Susie returned to the classroom and saw several girls surrounding his desk. Luosheng, seeing Susie come in, hurriedly stood up and left his seat, then sat down in front of Jiang Qiao, chatting with her in a low voice. According to Luosheng and the others, Susie was very fierce, often went out to fight and skip classes, and had even beaten up a gang member from another school, sending him to the hospital. They heard he bled a lot. He was always cold to girls, and there were rumors that he liked boys. The fact that he had helped Jiang Qiao, a new girl, surprised everyone. However, Luosheng joked, but for a girl as pretty as Jiang Qiao, I'd be happy to help too. Their chatter made Jiang Qiao blush. Susie leisurely sat down in his chair and reached into his drawer for his phone, but instead felt a bunch of hard objects in plastic packaging. He frowned and pulled them out. It was a bag of candy, strawberry flavored. He was about to ask who gave it to him when he looked up and saw his new desk mate hurriedly lower her head. Susie looked down and saw a note in his drawer. There were only 3 words on the note. Thank you. He didn't need to think to know who it was from. Susie looked up and saw his new desk mate's ears turn red again. During the third period in the afternoon, Jiang Qiao noticed her desk mate hadn't returned. She glanced at the empty seat and then continued to listen to the lecture. Susie had just finished a group fight. His face was bruised, but he hadn't lost. He put band-aids on his face, his expression indifferent. On the way back, he saw a blonde guy slapping a thin, small boy, cursing. Damn it, I told you to get me money, are you deaf? I don't have any money. If you don't have any, can't you get some from home? I don't care, you fucking get me the money tomorrow. Susie frowned, grabbed the blonde guy and punched him in the face. The blonde guy winced in pain and was about to curse back, but when he saw who it was, he stammered. See, you're here. Don't call me G, I'm not close to you. Susie's voice was low and hoarse. Don't let me see you bullying anyone at school again. The blonde guy cowered in the corner, knowing this person wasn't someone to mess with, and nodded repeatedly. I know, I promise, no, I swear I won't bully anyone again. Susie scoffed and said indifferently, you better not. The blonde guy lunged forward to hug his leg. I really won't, G. Don't call me that. Apologize to him. The blonde guy turned to the thin, small boy and said, I'm sorry, please ask him to let me go. I don't forgive you. Susie kicked him again and helped the other boy up. Let's go. Jiang Qiao was taking notes when she saw the boy stagger in through the door, band-aids haphazardly placed on his face. He sat down next to her. The teacher at the podium seemed accustomed to this, not even glancing at Susie, and continued the lesson. Half the class was asleep, including her deskmate, who had just returned and fallen asleep immediately. As soon as class ended, everyone rushed out to dinner. A new girl asked Jiang Qiao if she wanted to go to the cafeteria together. Jiang Qiao waved her hand. You guys go. She went to the entrance. Mama Lu would arrive punctually to deliver her meal. She had a strict diet, mainly bland food. The school food was either too oily or too salty and spicy, none of which she could eat. Besides, she needed to take her medicine after eating. Jiang Qiao sat at the entrance with her lunchbox, eating in small bites. Mama Lu handed her a glass of water, and she smiled at Mama Lu. Thank you, Mama Lu. Mama Lu looked at her lovingly. Qiao Qiao, is today's meal to your liking? It's delicious. Jiang Qiao gave Mama Lu a sweet smile. After the meal, Mama Lu handed her the medicine and a thermos, watching her take it. Susie passing by also saw this scene. CG, what are you looking at? Susie looked away and said indifferently, none of your damn business. Young Shirkuan also said, did you hear that? None of your damn business. Lao Yang, do you believe I'll beat you up? Hao Ming gave him a threatening look. Blah blah blah. Hit me then. Yang Shirkuan finished speaking and realized that Susie beside him was walking very fast. Yang Shirkuan hurriedly caught up. Cece, don't walk so fast. After evening self-study, Jiang Qiao was reading when she heard someone knock on the window. She looked up and saw a thin boy outside. Jiang Qiao opened the window and looked at the boy. Who are you looking for? The boy licked his lips and handed Jiang Qiao a carton of milk. Please pass this to Susie for me and tell him thank you. He had asked around and easily found out Susie's class and name. He told others that Susie had saved him, but they just laughed, saying that Susie not beating him up was already good enough and helping him? In your dreams. He wanted to say that it was true, Susie really helped him this afternoon. Jiang Qiao nodded. Okay, I will. As soon as Susie came back, Jiang Qiao placed the milk on his desk. Someone brought this just now after class. Seeing him look over, Jiang Qiao knew he must have misunderstood something and quickly explained. It was a boy. He asked me to thank you, not a girl. Susie picked up the milk and glanced at it. I know. It was the boy he helped this afternoon. Jiang Qiao, having relayed the message, went back to her own work. She held her pen, staring intently at the problems in her book. Notes flew across the classroom, students were talking and chatting. There was no learning atmosphere at all. Susie lowered his head, playing a mobile game. CG, want to play a game? Young Shirkuan turned to Susie. Jiang Qiao looked up at the two of them and heard Susie say, no, get lost. Young Shirkuan turned his head. Susie wouldn't play with them, so he would find Hao Ming. Susie glanced at Jiang Qiao, who was doing her homework, and kicked Young Shirkuan's chair, who was constantly shaking his leg. Young Shirkuan turned back. See, you want to play around? Shake your leg again and get out. Okay, CGE. Young Shirkuan immediately turned back. He's so fierce, Jiang Qiao thought silently, but at least the desk wasn't shaking anymore. Back home that night. How was your first day of school, Qiao Qiao? Jiang Qiao thought for a moment, then said, everything is good. The teacher is nice, the students in the class are also nice, the new classmates are good, and the new deskmate is also very good. Tianling nodded. That's good. If there's anything you're not satisfied with or unhappy about, tell Mom, and Mom will call your teacher. Jiang Qiao gently shook her head. No need, everything is fine. Tianling rubbed her head. Good girl. Then I won't disturb you. Your medicine is on the table, take it and go to sleep. Jiang Qiao hummed in agreement, tossed the medicine into her mouth, and drank some warm water. Tianling closed the door for her and said softly, good night, Qiao Qiao. Good night, Mom. At night, Jiang Qiao tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Her stomach was cramping again, and her forehead was covered in cold sweat. She clutched the blanket until it wrinkled. Trembling, she fumbled for painkillers in the drawer and took one. It wasn't until the latter half of the night that she finally fell into a deep sleep. Fang Zixin had learned about Jiang Qiao's condition from Tianling before she came to number 6 high school. He had seen Jiang Qiao's transcripts. Her grades were excellent, always within the top 10 at number 7 high school in B City. When he first met Jiang Qiao, he found the girl to be very well behaved. Yet, this sweet and lovely little girl might not live past this year. God, do you even see what you're doing? Jiang Qiao didn't want others to know about her health. When she went to the hospital for treatment, she asked Fang Zixin to tell the other teachers that she was attending tutoring classes. It was only Jiang Qiao's third day at school. Susie saw a boy come to knock on the window. The boy cautiously glanced at Susie first, then said to Jiang Qiao, Jiang Qiao, this is for you. Jiang Qiao wasn't naive. She smiled at the boy. I don't want it, thank you. The boy wanted to say something more, but seeing Susie's impatient expression, he hurriedly walked away. Although Jiang Qiao was very pretty, he didn't want to provoke this demon. Susie rubbed his temples and rested his head on the desk. He heard some girls come over to talk to Jiang Qiao, the group of them chatting and laughing. He opened his eyes and glanced at the three girls. Luo Xing licked her lips, realizing her voice might have been a bit too loud. "CG, did we disturb you?" Susie raised an eyebrow with a "you think" expression. Luo Xing pulled the other two girls and turned to run, not forgetting to look back at Jiang Qiao and say, "We'll come find you later." Jiang Qiao said okay, then carefully glanced at Susie, who had put his head back down on the desk and sighed. "Susie?" Class had been in session for over 10 minutes, and Susie was still asleep. Jiang Qiao looked at the teacher on the podium and gently poked him with her finger. "Wake up, class has started." Young Shirkuan, overhearing the conversation behind him, felt his heart skip a beat. CG had a bad temper when woken up. He hurriedly turned to Jiang Qiao and whispered, "Don't wake he." Before he could finish saying has a really bad temper, Susie was already awake. His face still had sleep lines, his eyes were red, and his expression looked a bit fierce. He shifted his position. "Wake me when Lao Fong comes." Jiang Qiao said, "Oh," and concentrated on her book. "Young Shirkuan, this is it? Is this even the CG he knew?" Today was the day Jiang Qiao needed to go to the hospital. As soon as the third period ended in the morning, she packed her things and prepared to leave. Luo Xing saw her with her backpack, seemingly about to go out. "Jiang Qiao, where are you going?" "My mom signed me up for tutoring, I'm leaving now." Luo Xing waved to her with a smile. "Okay, come back soon." She slowly walked down the stairs. The familiar feeling came again. She started to feel chest tightness and shortness of breath. The pain in her abdomen made it almost impossible for her to stand up straight. Jiang Qiao slowly moved to the restroom and squatted down, leaning against the wall, swallowing a few pills. She stayed in the restroom for half a period. Her slender white arms were covered in bruises from where she had pinched herself. The abdominal pain eased slightly, and she slowly walked out. Judging by this situation, she probably wouldn't be able to stay at school much longer. Jiang Qiao chose a secluded path through the school, not wanting to run into her classmates when she had another episode. Passing a corridor, she saw a few people fighting. One of them was wearing a school uniform with the collar casually unbuttoned, looking a bit unruly. He kicked another boy. "Watch your mouth." After cursing, he saw Jiang Qiao standing there, looking dazed. On a whim, he walked over to her and lowered his head, using his gentlest tone. "Scared?" Although it still sounded quite fierce. Jiang Qiao nodded. Susie probably hadn't expected her to admit it so frankly. For a moment he was a bit at a loss, blurting out, "Don't be afraid." "Okay." Usually Susie would tell Yang Shirkuan to shut up or get lost, but when he heard someone call Yang Shirkuan a bastard, he immediately brought people over to confront them. The first time Yang Shirkuan met Susie was in junior high. He was targeted by a group of punks who would ask him for money every few days, beating him if he didn't give them any. He often went home covered in injuries but didn't dare tell his family because those people warned him that if he told anyone, they would beat him even harder. Yang's father gave him 2 weeks' worth of living expenses at a time, which he gave entirely to these people, but they still wouldn't leave him alone. He really had no money left. The leader of the punks reached out to Yang Shirkuan. "Did you bring the money today?" Yang Shirkuan gritted his teeth, and with courage he didn't know where he found, he said, "I don't have any money to give you." The guy lifted Yang Shirkuan's chin and kicked him in the stomach. "Didn't I tell you? Ask your family for it." "What? Are you deaf?" Yang Shirkuan just repeated over and over, "I don't have any money." His appearance enraged the leader of the punks. Several of them pinned him to the ground and beat him. Just when he thought he was done for, Susie appeared. At that time Susie was still young, wearing black clothes and pants, his skin excessively pale. He said indifferently, "Always asking people from our school for money. Isn't that going too far?" The punk glanced at Susie. "All right, we'll give Susie some face, we won't bother this kid anymore." Susie scoffed and beat them to the ground, then reached out to Yang Shirkuan on the ground. "Can you stand up?" It was Susie who saved him and pulled him up back then. From then on he followed Susie like a shadow, wanting to be his friend. Susie hated trouble and was annoyed by him, but finally agreed. Although Susie had a cold personality, he knew that Susie was a kind person at heart. Suddenly Yang Shirkuan saw a man with hairspray and leather shoes in front of them and shouted, "Damn, Lao, he is coming, run!" He Guesher was the school dean. The students were afraid of him because he was truly long-winded and could lecture for a whole day and night. Susie had the honor of experiencing it. But it was too late to run. He Guesher had already arrived in front of them. He first squinted at Susie. "Fighting again? What did I say last time? Huh. Are you treating my words as wind in your ears again? How did I tell you? As high school students, we must be united and friendly, understand? Unity and friendship are excellent cultural traditions we should inherit. Jiang Qiao coughed lightly. Hello, teacher. Susie was escorting me to the entrance. We are desk mates. I'm not feeling well, so the teacher asked him to accompany me. Jiang Qiao looked like a good student, speaking calmly and confidently, making people inexplicably believe her. Sure enough, director, he glanced at the two of them and said, not feeling well? Go quickly then. Then he looked at Susie, finally doing a good deed. Director, he left and Susie teased, quite loyal little classmate. Jiang Qiao wanted to retort that she wasn't little, but then felt arguing about this topic was meaningless. She pulled on her backpack strap and said to Susie, I'll be going now. Seeing Susie still following behind her, she couldn't help but turn her head and ask him, are you also going to the entrance? Didn't you just say I was escorting you to the entrance? Gotta keep up appearances. Jiang Qiao didn't argue and continued walking forward. At the entrance, Susie watched her pull out a leave slip and raised an eyebrow. What? Really not feeling well? No, taking leave to go to tutoring. If he remembered correctly, the information Yang Shirkuan relayed, aside from the gender being wrong, everything else should have been accurate. With such good grades, still going to tutoring, truly a good kid. He smiled at Jiang Qiao. Thanks for today. You're welcome. You helped me before at the start of school. Jiang Qiao's serious manner made Susie laugh. He suddenly noticed the bruises on Jiang Qiao's wrist. He wanted to ask but didn't. See you. Jiang Qiao hummed in agreement and left. Li Qiuhong snatched his book away. Go stand at the podium and eat. Come back down when you're finished. Wu Wei sat at the podium eating his self-heating hot pot, constantly slurping and making hissing sounds, his face sweating from the spice. Li Qiuhong handed him a tissue. Spicy, isn't it? Teacher. How did you know I desperately needed a tissue? Get out and stand outside. Wu Wei wiped his mouth and shouted. All right, I'll go right away. Class ended, and the classroom erupted into a chaotic mess of noise and horseplay. A water bottle flew out of nowhere, hitting Jiang Qiao on the head with a crisp sound. She picked up the bottle, placed it on the desk and rubbed her head, not taking it to heart. The people in front were still laughing and messing around. Susie suddenly kicked the desk and shouted. Shut up. You hit someone, don't you know to apologize? Are your eyes just for decoration? The classroom immediately fell silent. Everyone knew Susie was angry and didn't dare to speak. A boy ran over and said to Jiang Qiao, I'm sorry, new classmate, I didn't mean to. We were just playing and I didn't know the bottle would hit you. I'm really sorry. It's okay, you didn't do it on purpose. The boy returned to his seat and whispered to his deskmate. Man, the new classmate is really gentle and so pretty, even prettier up close. Susie is really scary. I didn't even dare to speak when he was looking at me. The deskmate immediately agreed. Right, he was really scary just now. I was too scared to say a word. It wasn't until Susie lay back down on his desk to sleep that people in the class started whispering again. Some quietly discussed whether Susie had a crush on Jiang Qiao. Jiang Qiao clearly didn't belong in their class, looking every bit the good student, excessively well-behaved and incredibly sweet. So, it turned out Susie liked this type. Others said that the bottle throwing had disturbed Susie, which was why he stood up for the new classmate. Jiang Qiao looked at the sleeping Susie and thought that he really wasn't as fierce as he appeared. He seemed pretty nice. Susie suddenly sat up and cursed. Yang Shirkuan, if you keep talking nonsense, I'll cut out your tongue. Yang Shirkuan covered his mouth. Jiang Qiao decided to retract her previous thought. During the third period in the afternoon, Jiang Qiao was reading in the classroom when she heard someone say there was someone outside looking for her. She walked to the door and saw an unfamiliar girl. The girl wore a crop top, her hair dyed auburn and styled in shoulder-length curls. Several earrings adorned her ears, and she wore bright red lipstick, looking extremely flamboyant. Excuse me, is there something I can help you with? The girl looked Jiang Qiao up and down. The girl in front of her was slender and pale, looking Gaichao in her blue and white school uniform, her hair tied in a low ponytail. She folded her arms. Are you Susie's deskmate? I haven't seen you before. Jiang Qiao explained. I'm new. I just transferred here a few days ago, and the teacher arranged for me to sit next to him. The girl said, oh, then threatened. Stay away from him. Jiang Qiao was a little puzzled but nodded nonetheless. I understand. Back at her seat, she was still pondering the girl's words. Stay away from Susie. Had she just been threatened? Yang Shirkuan watched as Jiang Qiao continued to write and draw in her notebook. He couldn't help but ask, Jiang Qiao, what did they say to you just now? I don't really understand what she meant. Meeting her clear eyes, Yang Shirkuan felt he couldn't utter a single crude word in front of such a well-behaved girl. No wonder CG helped her on the first day. Jiang Qiao was just too and pretty too. Did they say anything excessive to you? Jiang Qiao thought for a moment, then shook her head. She just told me to stay away from Susie. That girl just now is called Shinemo. She's a crazy pursuer of CG. But CG doesn't like her and has rejected her many times. CG doesn't have a girlfriend either. Yang Shirkuan didn't know why he was explaining this, but seeing Jiang Qiao looking at him, he inexplicably felt the need to. I understand, thank you. Luo Xing and the other two girls also gathered around, asking Jiang Qiao if Shinemo had given her a hard time. Jiang Qiao shook her head. She just told me to stay away from Susie, nothing else. Luo Xing exclaimed. She just threatened you like that out of the blue? Aren't you angry? I'm not angry. Jiang Qiao didn't think there was anything to be angry about. Looking at her docile expression, Luo Xing's eyes practically sparkled. Wow, you have such a good temper. Then she whispered. Actually, quite a few girls like Susie. He's handsome, comes from a good family, just a bit fierce and doesn't interact with girls. That's why there are rumors that he doesn't like girls. Does he like boys then? Jiang Qiao didn't have much time left. She just wanted to live happily, and didn't want to waste her energy on unimportant things. Susie arrived just as the bell was about to ring. Yang Shirkuan tossed a note onto his desk. Susie raised an eyebrow. What? Can't you say it directly? Yang Shirkuan nudged him with his eyes, urging him to open it. Susie opened the note and saw Yang Shirkuan had written. Shinemo came looking for Jiang Qiao after class. Susie frowned and glanced at Jiang Qiao. She was engrossed in her book. He decided to talk to her after class. What did Shinemo want with Jiang Qiao? Suppressing his irritation, he tossed a note to Jiang Qiao. He saw Jiang Qiao press the note under her book, and while the teacher's back was turned, sneak a peek. What a good student. Sneaking a look at a note like an elementary schooler. The note read, "Don't leave after school, I need to talk to you." The note was tossed back. Susie opened the note and saw the single word. Okay. Jiang Qiao didn't know what he wanted to talk about. It was probably about the afternoon incident. She quickly put it out of her mind and focused on the teacher's lecture. Before she knew it, school was over. Most of the class had left. Jiang Qiao turned to Susie and asked, "What did you want to talk about? Shinemo came to see you today?" Jiang Qiao thought for a moment, remembering the girl he mentioned must be the one who came today. She hummed in agreement. What did she say? She told me to stay away from you. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Susie was silent for a long time, looking at the well-behaved girl in front of him and finally squeezed out, "You don't have to pay attention to her." Jiang Qiao looked at him. I know. Susie remembered the bruises he had seen on her wrist a few days ago and subconsciously glanced at her wrist. Today she was wearing a jacket, covering the marks. Susie still couldn't resist asking what was on his mind. Are your parents abusing you? Jiang Qiao. Question mark. She looked up at him confused. Seeing her bewildered expression, Susie explained, I saw the marks on your arm a few days ago. I didn't really want to ask. Jiang Qiao rolled up her sleeve to show him. You mean this? Her wrists were naturally pale, making the purple bruises look especially alarming, as if she had been beaten. I did this myself. You have self-harm tendencies? Jiang Qiao shook her head. No, it's because I'm not feeling well. I pinched myself. Watching her answer his question so earnestly, Susie found her exceptionally ga. I've answered your question. Can I go now? Yes. Watching Jiang Qiao's departing figure, Susie curled his lips into a smile. Shinemo looked up and saw Susie in the cafeteria. The tall, slender boy wore his summer school uniform, his exposed forearms revealing smooth, defined muscles. His gaze was always cool and indifferent. She still remembered the first time she met Susie. The boy, dressed in a red basketball jersey, stood out on the court. During halftime, he casually lifted his shirt to wipe the sweat from his forehead. She didn't know what someone next to him said, but he gave a captivating smile that made Shinemo want to have his babies right then and there. What followed was a long and arduous pursuit. Although Susie had never given her a direct look, it didn't affect her fondness for him. See, Shinemo is over there. Susie glanced over and then walked over with his tray. Shinemo looked at the boy in front of her and was about to speak when Susie said, You went looking for my desk mate? Yes, the new student. Susie looked at her, his voice indifferent. Don't bother her. Shinemo twirled her hair. All right. Can I get your contact information, Susie? Yang Shirkuan, watching Susie's expression, knew that if Shinemo weren't a girl, Susie would most likely tell her to get lost. In your dreams. Yang Shirkuan glanced at Shinemo. Well, that was even worse than being told to get lost. Shinemo asked the girl next to her. Don't you think he looks especially handsome even when he's saying in your dreams? Oh my god, I'm even more in love. The girl. Handsome. Very handsome. CGC, do you want to play basketball? Susie didn't look up. No. His long fingers swiped across the phone screen, clearing away matching blocks in the game. A text message popped up. He was about to dismiss it when he saw the phrase, "I'm Mom." He opened the message. It was from an unknown number, the message reading, "I'm Mom, can we meet? Xiaoxi." Susie glanced at it and immediately blocked the number. He turned off his phone irritably, leaned back in his chair and exhaled. It was laughable. Back when Su Hongyu started his business from scratch, their family wasn't rich but they were happy. During those years, he never mistreated his mother. Even when his monthly income was only a few thousand yuan, he would buy his mother bags worth tens of thousands. Su Hongyu painstakingly managed his business for many years, gradually seeing some improvement. Later he was scammed by a partner and lost millions, falling deeply into debt. Even then, Su Hongyu never mistreated his mother. But one day, his mother suddenly started packing her things and told him, "I'm leaving." Susie was only 7 years old at the time. He hugged her leg, crying and begging her not to go. But his mother just looked back at him coldly and said, "I can't stand living like this any longer. Don't you want me anymore?" She looked at him like he was a burden, each word like a knife stabbing into his heart. "I don't want to be held back by a child." He didn't blame her for leaving. He only blamed himself for being incapable of providing her a good life. From then on, he devoted himself to his work, rarely smiling and even colder towards his own son Susie. Su Hongyu's business grew bigger and bigger, and he earned more and more money, but he remained unhappy. No matter what Susie did, he couldn't earn a single word of praise or a smile from his father. For so many years, Su Hongyu never remarried. His phone wallpaper was still their first photo together, and his wallet also held a picture of the two of them. One day in his second year of middle school, Susie walked into the living room and smelled the pungent odor of smoke and alcohol. He saw ashtrays and empty bottles all over the table. Su Hongyu lay on the sofa, dead drunk, clutching a photo tightly in his hand. The woman in the photo was beautiful, dressed in a white dress, smiling shyly at the camera. For so many years after his mother left, the Su Hongyu he saw was always calm and serious. This was the first time he had seen his father so distraught. He helped Su Hongyu to his bedroom and saw a red invitation card fall out of his pocket. A gold-embossed cover. Opening it revealed glaring names and a photo with a bright red background. The woman in the photo was smiling happily at the camera, a strange man beside her. Susie silently tucked the invitation back into his father's pocket and left the room. Xin Yuchen, his mother, was remarrying. His mother had abandoned him without hesitation, and it took him a long time to recover. He thought that when he heard news of her again, he would yell and scream, wanting to confront her and ask why she abandoned him, why she abandoned Su Hongyu, why she didn't want him. But upon seeing this news, he couldn't describe his feelings. He wasn't at peace, but suddenly it felt like it didn't matter anymore. Su Hongyu seemed to have aged 10 years overnight. For so many years he had been hoping she would return. He was still waiting for her. Sometimes he thought his father's infatuation was pathetic, waiting for someone who didn't love him. Susie lowered his eyes, turning his phone off and on again. He clenched his fists until his knuckles turned white, a sudden tightness in his chest. Even after so many years he realized he still couldn't let go. He turned his phone on again, unable to play the games he usually enjoyed. He swiped the screen a few times, then turned it off again. He lay down on the desk, covering his head with his jacket and closed his eyes. Jiang Qiao glanced at him, then turned back and continued working on her problems. See? Yang Shikuan turned around about to talk to Susie, but seeing him asleep on the desk, he turned back again. Susie seemed to have returned to his childhood. Xin Yuchen in a white dress holding him in her arms, smiling brightly. The scene shifted, Xin Yuchen dragging a suitcase telling him, "I don't want to be held back by a child. Wake up, school's over." A soft, sweet voice reached his ears. Susie opened his eyes, his dark eyes filled with red veins, startling Jiang Qiao. He took off the jacket covering his head, his voice still hoarse. He said to Jiang Qiao, "Thank you," then walked out. Yang Shikuan chased after him. "See, wait for me." Susie walked quickly, showing no intention of stopping. Jiang Qiao was gathering her books when Luoxing walked over. "Let's go together." Jiang Qiao looked up at her and softly said, "Okay." Luoxing affectionately linked arms with her, walking on her right side. "Qiao Qiao, you don't live on campus either?" Jiang Qiao shook her head. "No, I don't." She couldn't live on campus. It would be inconvenient for many reasons, and later, she might be away from school for a long time. Luoxing smiled. "I don't live on campus either. We can go home together from now on." "Okay." Reaching the school gate, Luoxing saw her parents waiting to pick her up. She waved to Jiang Qiao. "Bye, see you tomorrow." "See you tomorrow." Mama Lu took Jiang Qiao's backpack. "Qiao Qiao, you've already made a new friend after just starting school?" Jiang Qiao nodded. "Yes." Are you getting along well with your new classmates? Jiang Qiao looked at her reflection in the window. It's good. Mama Lu looked at her with a loving smile. Madam has already simmered chicken soup at home, waiting for you to come back and have some. Jiang Qiao just smiled in response, saying nothing more. Seeing she didn't want to talk, Mama Lu remained silent. She had watched Jiang Qiao grow up over the years from a soft, cuddly baby to a young woman. Jiang Qiao was beautiful, well-behaved, and easy to care for, always at the top of her class. Jiang Qiao's parents had practically left her entirely in Mama Lu's care, only sending money regularly. Jiang Qiao never cried or fussed. She quietly went about her business, as if everything around her had nothing to do with her. The only person she was close to was Jiang Qiao. That day, if Jiang Qiao hadn't gone to deliver milk to Jiang Qiao, she wouldn't have found her collapsed in her room. She stayed with her at the hospital all night, staring in disbelief at the diagnosis several times. The diagnosis clearly stated, terminal stomach cancer. As soon as Mama Lu opened the door, she heard arguing inside. Jiangjian, don't go too far. How am I going too far? Don't think I don't know about the shady things you're doing outside. If it weren't for Qiao Qiao, I would have divorced you long ago. Tianling, make yourself clear. What have I done? What shady things? Tell me clearly. Jiang Qiao stood at the doorway, listening to their argument, then calmly walked past them, expressionless like a wooden doll. Mama Lu followed behind, looking embarrassed. Jiang Qiao was long accustomed to their arguments. It had been endless bickering since she was little. Either they weren't home or they were home and fighting. A while later, Tianling knocked softly on the door. Jiang Qiao had just finished showering, her face slightly flushed from the steam, wearing pale yellow pajamas that accentuated her collarbones. She opened the door and glanced at the chicken soup in Tianling's hands, saying nothing. Qiao Qiao, this is the chicken soup Mom made for you. Have some. I added a lot of ingredients and simmered it for hours. Just put it on the table. Tianling looked at Jiang Qiao's expression and said, then rest early. Jiang Qiao sat at her desk and finished the last sentence in her diary. She put the diary in her drawer and locked it. The bowl of chicken soup on the table was steaming. Jiang Qiao stared at it for a moment, then picked it up and took a sip. The soup tasted rich, but her stomach churned with nausea. She ran to the bathroom and threw up, nearly emptying her stomach, but the dry heaving continued, her stomach cramping painfully. The arguing outside continued. They thought she couldn't hear, but she heard everything clearly. She retched a few times and heard hurried footsteps approaching. Qiao Qiao, are you throwing up again? Qiao Qiao, open the door, let Mom in. Okay. Don't come in. Jiang Qiao clutched her stomach and struggled to stand. Her small pale face contorted in pain. She fished out a few pills and swallowed them, then drank some warm water from the table. Qiao Qiao, let Mom in, okay? Duh. Open the door, Qiao Qiao. Hearing their voices outside, Jiang Qiao collapsed onto the bed, gasping for air. Tianling found the spare key and opened the door. Seeing Jiang Qiao on the floor, she pulled her into a hug. Jiang Qiao's eyes seemed to lose their anxiety, letting herself be held without saying a word, like a broken doll. After a long while she finally spoke. I want to rest. Tianling carried her to bed, murmuring softly, sleep, sleep. Jiangjian turned off the light, and they left the room. For once they didn't argue, sitting on the sofa in a long silence. How is Xiao Si doing at school recently? The man on the sofa wore a custom-made black suit and silver-rimmed glasses. His features were sharp, his peach blossom eyes particularly striking. Yang Guan carefully chose his words. Young master hasn't caused any trouble recently. Su Hongyu responded with a hum, seeming to accept this, then continued reading his newspaper without another word. Hearing the sound of the door, he looked up. Su Si wore his school uniform casually, the top button undone, a band-aid on his face. Yang Guan licked his lips. He had just said Su Si hadn't caused any trouble, and there he was with an injury on his face. What happened to your face? Su Si said, I fell, then went straight upstairs. Su Hongyu glanced at him, then returned his attention to the newspaper. Father and son rarely communicated, exchanging only a few words at a time. The next morning, young Shirkuan watched Su Si walk in, ready to sleep, and stared at the dark circles under his eyes. CG, did you stay up all night? No. He just couldn't sleep, so he played on his phone until almost morning. Hao Ming popped up from behind young Shirkuan. CG, you haven't had breakfast, right? I brought you some. I don't want it. Okay, but these soup dumplings are really good. He asked again. Really don't want any? I waited in line for a long time. Su Si looked up at him. Give them to me. I'll transfer you the money later. Hao Ming shook his head. No need, CG. I've already transferred it. Su Si took the breakfast, put it in his drawer, laid his head on the desk, closed his eyes and prepared to sleep. Young Shirkuan said to Hao Ming, Huh? Nothing for me. Hao Ming. Nope. The weather forecast said there's a northwest wind today. Go outside and catch some with your mouth. Hao Ming, you bastard. I'll drink your sister's northwest wind. You're the one drinking northwest wind. Holy crap, young dog, don't steal my soup dumplings. Hao Ming watched young Shirkuan pounce on his soup dumplings like a starving tiger. He grabbed the bag and took a few steps back. You're so stingy, Hao Big Head. Young Shirkuan snatched the soup dumplings, opened the bag and popped one into his mouth, ignoring the burning sensation. He mumbled, pretty good. Bring me some tomorrow too. Hao Ming held out his hand. Pay up. Talking about money hurts our brotherhood. Luo Xing saw Jiang Qiao enter the classroom and waved excitedly. Qiao Qiao. Jiang Qiao smiled at her, then returned to her seat with her backpack. She glanced at the sleeping Susi, then took out her Chinese textbook. Fang Zixin came to check on morning reading. He walked around the classroom, then stopped in front of Jiang Qiao and said, Jiang Qiao, come out with me for a moment. Jiang Qiao put down her book and obediently followed him. Sit down. Jiang Qiao sat across from Fang Zixin. Teacher, is there something you need? Fang Zixin looked at the well-behaved girl and smiled gently. How do you feel about sitting with Susi? Jiang Qiao answered truthfully. It's good. Susi was usually quiet, either sleeping or playing games. He wasn't as bad as the rumors made him out to be, just a bit fierce. Fang Zixin nodded. That's good. If you have any discomfort, tell me anytime. I understand, thank you, teacher. All right, you can go back now. Jiang Qiao opened the door and left. The teacher at the next desk asked Fang Zixin, is that the transfer student in your class? I heard her grades are quite good. Fang Zixin took a sip of water and replied, yes, she just transferred. She was in the top 10 at her previous key high school in B City. You placed this good student with Susi? The female teacher had taught Susi before. Skipping classes, fighting, he was a delinquent. Fang Zixin said, he's not a bad kid. He had recently graduated and taken over class 17 from the previous homeroom teacher. When he first took charge, he heard that the class had many problem students, the worst grades in the school, and especially the one in the last row who loved to sleep and cause trouble. The previous homeroom teacher of class 17 was also a gentle woman. She had handed over the class due to her pregnancy. She told Fang Zixin that although these children were a bit boisterous, noisy, and sometimes troublesome, they weren't bad. Later, Fang Zixin discovered this to be true. The first class was Fang Zixin's. He entered the classroom with his math book and said to the noisy class, all right, quiet down, settle down, class is starting. The class quickly quieted down. The first diagnostic test is coming up soon. Everyone, please review carefully and focus on preparing for the exam. It's scheduled for next Thursday and Friday, 2 days. Groans erupted from below. Lao Fang, why are we having a test so soon after school started? Fang Zixin pushed his glasses up his nose. It's a diagnostic test to assess how well you've retained what you learned last semester and over the summer break. Summer break? Who studies during summer break? Fang Zixin laughed. I don't have any particularly high expectations, just can we please not be last place again this time? Put in some effort, get a few more points. I'm in the office. If you have any questions, come and ask me anytime. I'll try my best not to drag us down with single-digit scores. Just pray I don't get a 0. Fang Zixin patted the table. All right, class is starting. As soon as class ended, young Shirkuan couldn't help but say, I got such a low score on my physics final last semester that my mom beat me with a belt. My butt still aches when I think about it. Hao Ming. I only got 3 points more than you. My mom said I was a disgrace and told me not to come home. Not being allowed home is nothing. My mom chased me down the street for 3 blocks. Damn. Jiang Qiao listened to their conversation, looked up at them, then lowered her head again. The second period was English. Young Shirkuan looked at the sleeping Susi, struggling between waking him up and getting yelled at, or not waking him up and also getting yelled at. As he hesitated, a pale hand reached out, its owner saying softly, class is about to start, wake up. Young Shirkuan's gaze towards Jiang Qiao instantly changed. I hereby declare the new classmate my god. Let me count how many gods you've had this semester. Get lost. Susi had just woken up. He glanced at young Shirkuan. Shut up. A soft hand poked his arm, the voice equally soft. Teacher Fang hasn't given me an English textbook yet. Could I share yours? If it's too much trouble. Susi tossed the textbook, which was paler than his face, onto the desk. Here, I don't need it. Jiang Qiao smiled at him. Thank you. She opened the book, placed it between them, and pushed it slightly towards Susi. Let's share. Susi looked at the book she pushed towards him. He wanted to say he didn't need it, he didn't listen in class anyway. Meeting her gaze, he pursed his lips and said nothing. Forget it, if she wanted to share, let her share. Jiang Qiao was very focused in class, sitting up straight, a strand of hair falling beside her cheek. Her uniform was a bit loose on her slender frame, her thin wrists looking fragile, as if they might break with a squeeze. The boy in front was tall, blocking Jiang Qiao's view. She sat up straighter, craning her neck to see the blackboard when she heard the voice beside her. Where can't you see? The last line. Susie picked up his pen, copied the last line onto a piece of paper, and placed it on Jiang Qiao's desk. Susie, stand up and answer this question. Susie glanced at the question on the blackboard. I don't know. You don't know? Then why were you passing notes to your deskmate during class? I bet you won't amount to anything after graduation. All you do is fight and cause trouble. Where do you plan to work after graduation? Are you worthy of your parents sending you here? Worthy of your mother giving birth to you and raising you? Susie stood up without a word and walked straight out of the classroom. Chun Song continued to scold. What's wrong with saying a few words to you? So disrespectful to the teacher. Young Shirkuan felt something was wrong with Susie's state. He covered his nose and ran to the front. Teacher, my nose is bleeding. I need to go out for a bit. Before Chun Song could respond, Young Shirkuan ran out. He looked at Jiang Qiao in the back. The girl stood up without a word and said, I was the one who couldn't see the blackboard and asked him. He wasn't passing me notes. She held up the piece of paper. It wasn't a note at all. It was covered in the boy's slightly unruly handwriting, copied content from the blackboard. Chun Song couldn't bring himself to apologize. I see, but don't pass notes during class. If you have any questions, you can ask the teacher or your classmates after class. Understood? Jiang Qiao nodded. Yes. Then I'll go stand outside as punishment. He looked at the girl in front of him, a sense of dislike rising within him. She had just arrived and was already hanging out with trash like Susie. She definitely wasn't a good student. He looked down on students like Susie with bad grades and a penchant for trouble. CG, don't walk so fast, wait for me. Susie stopped and said to Young Shirkuan, Why are you following me? I'm a little scared. Susie looked at him puzzled. What are you scared of? Young Shirkuan scratched his head. Scared something will happen to you. How did you get out of class? I said my nose was bleeding. Go back. Don't follow me. A hostile aura surrounded Susie, his emotions unreadable. I'll go back then. Young Shirkuan glanced back at Susie one more time, then left. Sunlight fell on the boy, softening his features. Susie ran a hand through his hair in frustration, then walked to the restroom sink, turning on the faucet. He splashed water on his face, taking a few deep breaths before the agitation in his chest subsided slightly. The bell rang and students poured out of the classrooms. Susie leaned against the wall outside an empty classroom, playing his puzzle game, listlessly swiping the screen. Suddenly, his sleeve was tugged gently. Susie looked down and saw the person in front of him, his well-behaved deskmate in her neat uniform. Something wrong. Jiang Qiao met Susie's gaze and nervously tightened her grip on her hands. He looked so fierce. I'm sorry. You got scolded in class because you were helping me see the blackboard. Jiang Qiao looked up at him, her pale face earnest. Susie looked at her well-behaved appearance and lowered his eyes. It wasn't your fault. It was Chun Song who had it out for him, always finding something to criticize him about in every class. What did it have to do with her? The boy's eyes were narrow and long, his skin fair, dark bangs falling over his forehead. The cuts on his face had scabbed over, adding an air of rebelliousness to his features. Water droplets trickled down his cheeks. Jiang Qiao stared at him for a moment, then took a tissue from her pocket and handed it to him. Susie chuckled softly. Thanks. Class is about to start. He saw Jiang Qiao glance at her watch, then jog away. He looked at the tissue in his hand and tucked it into his pocket. She really was a good student, running off so quickly at the mention of class. Jiang Qiao reached the classroom door just as the bell rang. She heard a voice behind her. May I come in? She made eye contact with Susie, then looked away and slowly entered the classroom. As soon as he was back in class, Susie started sleeping. Halfway through the lesson, there was a knock on the window. Jiang Qiao looked up at Fang Zixin, her expression confused. Fang Zixin glanced at the sleeping Susie. Tell him to come to my office after class. Okay. Susie hadn't actually been asleep. He lifted his head and looked at Fang Zixin. Understood. I'll be there. The next period was self-study. Susie sat across from Fang Zixin, his expression neutral. Susie, do you know why I called you here? Susie looked up at him, a hint of mockery in his eyes. Skipping class? Or something else? If it's about talking back to the teacher, I don't admit it. The boy leaned back casually, his expression indifferent. Fang Zixin had heard about what happened in class from Chan Song. He looked at the boy in front of him with a hint of helplessness. You know Teacher Chen didn't mean any harm. He just wants you to do better. There was a knock on the office door. Susie watched Jiang Qiao walk in. What is it, Jiang Qiao? Fang Zixin looked at the girl who suddenly appeared with surprise. With Susie present, he refrained from asking if she was unwell and needed to leave. Jiang Qiao looked at Fang Zixin, speaking slowly and deliberately. In class today, Susie was just copying the words on the blackboard for me, because I couldn't see them clearly. The teacher mistook it for passing notes. It had nothing to do with Susie. Fang Zixin turned to Susie. Is that true, Susie? Susie didn't care about any of this. Whether he explained or not didn't matter to him. He gave a non-committal Jiang Qiao continued. I just came to explain this. Fang Zixin nodded. I understand. You can go back now. Jiang Qiao left the office. Susie leaned back in his chair and looked at Fang Zixin. If you called me here to lecture me about respecting teachers, you can save your breath. I only respect those who deserve my respect. Fang Zixin sighed. As your homeroom teacher, I naturally want to see you improve. Seeing the boy's indifferent expression, he continued earnestly. The monthly exams are coming up soon. Focus on your studies. Jiang Qiao's grades are excellent. You can ask her if you have any questions. Susie gave a non-committal He'd heard about his little deskmate's good grades from the start. He stood up. If there's nothing else, I'll leave. There was another knock on the door, and Yang Shirkuan walked in, grinning. Susie glanced at him, said nothing, and walked past him. Teacher, I have a math question. Fang Zixin looked at him with some confusion. Which question? Yang Shirkuan pointed at a problem. If you don't explain this one, I won't understand any of the others. Fang Zixin. All right. He patiently explained the problem to Yang Shirkuan. Only then did Yang Shirkuan reveal his true purpose for coming to the office. Teacher, there's something I need to tell you. Go ahead. Yang Shirkuan embellished the events of the English class and said indignantly, Teacher Chan was really out of line today. Fang Zixin nodded. All right, you can go back now. He rubbed his temples, looking tired. Although everyone said Susie was a problem student, he hadn't caused any trouble for Fang Zixin personally. He had looked into Susie's family situation. Only a father often away and no information about his mother. Chen Song used to teach the top classes and had high standards. He couldn't accept being transferred to class 17, the lowest performing class, and had protested to the school multiple times to no avail. He clearly looked down on the students in this class and had complained about it to Fang Zixin more than once. Fang Zixin hadn't expected him to say those things so openly in front of the class. He decided he needed to have a talk with Chen Song about his teaching attitude and perhaps report the incident to the school if necessary. Chen Song and Fang Zixin hadn't spoken for long before they started arguing, the tension escalating as they exchanged heated words. Seeing the situation getting out of hand, the other teachers in the office rushed over to intervene. All right, can't we talk things over calmly? Stop arguing. Come on, let's all calm down. You're both in charge of a class, let's not ruin the harmony. Exactly. Let's maintain a good working relationship. Calm down. Chen Song snapped. With the pathetic grades of class 17, you think I cherish teaching them? The other teachers exchanged glances, unsure what to say. Words of comfort and reconciliation caught in their throats. Fang Zixin was also angry. I'll request a change of English teacher from the school. Good riddance. I can't stand another day in that class. If even one student from your class makes it into the top 10, I'll apologize to the whole class. I, Chen Song, will admit I was wrong. The news of Fang Zixin and Chen Song's argument spread like wildfire. Yang Shirkuan clicked his tongue. Chen Song's words were harsh, but he's not wrong. Our class's grades are truly terrible. No one ever makes it into the top 100, let alone the top 10. Hao Ming sighed. He was too much to Lao Fang, but there's nothing we can do about it. Yang Shirkuan looked at Susie, who was playing his puzzle game. CG, what do you think? I don't know. Jiang Qiao, overhearing their conversation, paused her writing, then continued working on her math problems. The atmosphere in the class was gloomy. Lao Fang was a good teacher, and they wanted to make him proud, but their abilities simply didn't allow it. At noon, singing, a new restaurant opened on Backstreet. Wanna go check it out? Hao Ming asked Susie. Susie hummed in agreement. Yang Shirkuan's eyes lit up. Let's go, let's go. I heard it's amazing. The newly opened restaurant served stir-fried dishes. It was crowded, so the three of them found a corner table. Siju, what do you want to eat? Yang Shirkuan asked Susie, looking at the menu. Anything's fine. Owner will have sweet and sour pork ribs, scrambled eggs with wood ear mushrooms and carrots, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, a 3 delicacies tofu soup and 5 bowls of rice. Yang Shirkuan was about to order more when Hao Ming reminded him. That's enough. Are you planning to eat a whole trough? Yang Shirkuan asked Susie. See, anything you particularly want? No, that's enough. Susie placed his phone on the table. Hey CG, your phone's lit up. Looks like someone's calling. Susie glanced at it. It was an unknown number, so he declined the call. The phone flashed again. Susie glanced at it and declined again. Persistent, aren't they? But what if it's someone you know? So shouldn't you answer? Susie looked at the persistently flashing number and said, You guys start eating. I'll go take this call. He stood up and walked outside, answering the call. Hello. Xiaoxi. It was a woman's voice. Susie checked the number again, confirming it wasn't one he had saved. He said indifferently, Who is this? Is there something I can help you with? It's Mom, Xiaoxi. Can I meet you? Just have a meal and chat. I haven't seen you in so many years. I want to see what you look like now. I've missed you so much all these years. Susie was silent for a moment, then let out a sarcastic laugh. No need. Don't disturb my life. There was a brief silence on the other end, as if the woman wanted to say something but hesitated. Susie hung up. He put his phone back in his pocket and walked back inside. I've paid the bill. You guys eat. I've lost my appetite. Hey CG. Hao Ming and Yang Shirkuan exchanged glances, unsure what had happened, but judging by Susie's expression, it wasn't a pleasant call. They didn't dare to follow him. Susie preferred to be alone when he was angry, not wanting to be disturbed. Even though they had known Susie for several years, they only knew that he had a father who was often away. Boss, besides those dishes, we'd like another order to go, please. Hao Ming looked at the 5 bowls of rice in front of them. Why didn't you ask the owner for 2 fewer bowls? Can we even finish this much with just the 2 of us? Yang Shirkuan. Just 5 bowls of rice. Who do you think you're looking down on? I hope you're still this confident later. Yang Shirkuan. I'm always confident, okay? There was one last rib left on the plate. Yang Shirkuan was about to take it when Hao Ming snatched it with his chopsticks. You bastard, Hao Ming. That last rib was mine. Hao Ming. You want the bone? That's disgusting. Yang Shirkuan finished the last grain of rice in his bowl and rubbed his stomach. Damn, I've never been this full in my life. I feel like the food's gonna come back up if I talk. Don't get so close to me. If you puke on me, I'll kill you. As soon as Hao Ming finished speaking, Yang Shirkuan leaned closer and made a retching sound. You damn young dog, you're disgusting. I'm not going to waste the food I worked so hard to eat. Think of the farmers. Hao Ming was speechless. You just ate too much. Stop making excuses. Get lost. Yang Shirkuan took the takeaway box from the owner. I wonder if CG is back in the classroom. Hao Ming. Doesn't matter. Let's take it back. Even if CG isn't there, you can eat it. Do you really think I'm a pig? Aren't you? Susie dialed a number. The other end rang for a moment, then connected. Did you give her my number? Su Hongyu tapped his fingers on the table and took a sip of coffee. Your mother misses you very much. Misses me? Don't forget, she's the one who abandoned us. I'm not an object, not something she can discard whenever she wants. I'm a person. Su Hongyu paused, then said, I wasn't capable enough back then, so I couldn't keep her. Don't blame your mother. Susie scoffed. If you want to see her, go see her yourself. Don't drag me into this. She misses you very much. TSK, now you say that. How laughable. Tell her I don't miss her, and don't let her send me any more messages. Susie hung up. Su Hongyu was still the same as before. As long as she beckoned, he would come running. Su Hongyu only had eyes for her, no one else, not even his own son. He clenched his fists, unaware of his nails digging into his flesh. Does Xiaoxi dislike me? I called him today, and before I could even finish speaking, he hung up on me. The woman, her attractive figure accentuated by a black dress, had shoulder-length, gently curled hair that framed her collarbone, enhancing her femininity. She looked to be in her 20s, her skin impeccably maintained. That little rascal doesn't know any better. Don't take it to heart. Su Hongyu inhaled his cigarette, exhaling a plume of smoke. His long fingers held the remaining but before extinguishing it in the ashtray. Xin Yuchen clutched her phone. Should I call him again? I'm afraid he won't answer. He's at number 6 high school. You can go to the school gate and look for him, or come to my place. Okay, I'll go to the school gate. I haven't seen him in so long. I wonder how tall he's grown. Su Hongyu said. Taller than both of us. He looks more like you, so his appearance goes without saying. You'll see when you meet him. Xiaoxi was so small before, barely reaching my waist. As Xin Yuchen spoke, she remembered Susie hugging her leg, begging her not to leave. I wonder if, after all these years, he resents me. He won't. It was my fault for being incapable back then. Su Hongyu wanted to say more, but he heard a clear mommy from the other end of the line. I have to go. I'll contact you again if anything comes up. Shin Yuchen hung up the phone and ruffled the little boy's hair in front of her. Honey, are you hungry? Mommy will make you something to eat. Mommy. Who was that uncle you were talking to on the phone? Liang Jiaran tugged on Shin Yuchen's dress, his face innocent. Shin Yuchen wasn't sure how to explain. She squatted down and rubbed his head. Actually, Ran, you have an older brother. That was his father. Can I go see my brother? Shin Yuchen looked at the child who bore a striking resemblance to Susi as a child. Your brother might not be ready to see us yet. When he's ready, Mommy will take you to meet him. Okay. Okay. Ran has a brother. Ran has a brother. Liang Jiaran beamed. Looking at his smile, Shin Yuchen was reminded of Susi as a child, tugging on her sleeve and calling her mommy, just as sweet and innocent. But she still didn't regret her decision. She could never have endured those difficult times with him. The more she thought about Susi as a child, the better she treated Liang Jiaran, as if this could somehow compensate for the guilt she felt. But after all these years, she still wanted to see what Susi had grown into. Honey, I'm home. Shin Yuchen took his bag. Why are you home so early today? Liang Zhengji, reeking of alcohol, leaned against her. Missed you. Wanted to see you sooner. How much did you drink? You smell of alcohol. Shin Yuchen smelled the alcohol on him, helped him lie down on the sofa, and squatted down to take off his shoes. Wait a moment. I'll get you some honey water. Shin Yuchen came out of the kitchen and saw Liang Zhengji fast asleep on the sofa. She placed the honey water on the table and was about to wake him when his phone lit up. She hadn't intended to look, but several messages popped up in succession. Yao, did you have fun today? Waiting for you at the usual place next time/shy. Yao, are you home yet? Why did you suddenly stop replying? Yao, cute kitten emoji.jpg. Shin Yuchen stared at the phone for a moment, then used Liang Zhengji's right index finger to unlock it. She opened the chat. Liang Zhengji had saved her contact as Yao. Their messages only went back to last Saturday. The earlier ones must have been deleted. Yao, this is the new dress I bought. Do you think it's pretty? Yao, cute kitten emoji.jpg. Liang Zhengji. It'll end up ripped to shreds anyway, so it's all the same /lewd. Yao, shy emoji.jpg. Yao, you're so naughty. Liang Zhengji. Just wait for me to take care of you tonight. Yao, if you keep this up, I'll be angry and ignore you. Liang Zhengji. Alright, don't be mad. I'll take you to your favorite restaurant tonight, okay? Last Saturday, Liang Zhengji had told her he was working late, but he was actually sleeping with this girl. And on Monday, he bought her a bracelet, asking if she liked it, when it turned out to be a free gift with the necklace and ring he bought for this girl. He had also mentioned a restaurant that was particularly delicious, saying a colleague recommended it, but it was actually Yao's favorite. She checked Yao's social media profile. There was a picture of her in a white dress standing under a tree, looking innocent and lovely. Liang Zhengji had said he fell in love with Shin Yuchen at first sight, that he didn't mind that she was divorced with a child, but now he was with a girl around the same age as she was back then. She scrolled through their entire chat history, discovering that they shared everything from what they ate to the weather to anything interesting that happened. They had exchanged more messages in just few days than she and Liang Zhengji had in months. When she messaged Liang Zhengji, he always said he was busy working late. Later, afraid of disturbing him, she reduced the frequency of her messages. She waited for him at home for dinner while he celebrated another woman's birthday. She wondered how many more messages had been deleted. Shin Yuchen looked at the sleeping man on the sofa and suddenly wanted to douse him with the water on the table. She leaned closer and sniffed Liang Zhengji. Sure enough, besides the smell of alcohol, she detected a faint scent of perfume that she hadn't noticed before. The honey water on the table had gone cold. Shin Yuchen sat quietly on the sofa, looking at Liang Zhengji, feeling both familiar and estranged. After her divorce from Su Hongyu, she met Liang Zhengji, who pursued her relentlessly. He was handsome, came from a good family, and was gentlemanly. He didn't mind her past and maintained a respectful distance, not pressuring her to accept his advances. He said he would wait for her. Liang Zhengji claimed it was love at first sight, that he saw her in a white dress that day, pure as if she had stepped out of a painting. It was love at first glance, he said. After spending some time with him, Shin Yuchen felt he was reliable and well off. They soon got married. A few years later, she became pregnant and gave birth to Liang Jiaran. They were the picture-perfect couple in everyone's eyes. Why are you just sitting here? Why didn't you come in? Liang Zhengji finally woke up, rubbing his temples. His head was pounding. Who is Yao? Shin Yuchen sat in front of him and demanded. You went through my phone? Liang Zhengji glanced at her. I was making you honey water. I just put down the glass and saw your phone constantly lighting up. Liang Zhengji repeated. You went through my phone? Yes. Who the hell gave you permission to touch my phone? Shin Yuchen stood up and threw the phone at his face. You're keeping a mistress outside and have the nerve to ask me if I went through your phone? That's rich. I was truly blind to have fallen for you. Xinyechen, don't you think you're taking yourself too seriously? I just thought you were pretty and wanted to play around. Did you actually think I loved you? With my status, I can have any girl I want. Why would I need a used-up shoe like you? Liang Zhengji, you were the one who said you loved me. Xinyechen, don't act like you're some innocent 18-year-old girl. Playing the virtuous wife? I married you for appearances. For years you've lived off me. How have I wronged you? I'm just playing around with a few women. What's the big deal? Xinyechen trembled with rage. She grabbed the ashtray from the table and threw it at him, but Liang Zhengji caught her wrist and threw her to the floor. Wah! Mommy daddy, don't fight. Ran is scared. Xinyechen's head hit the table, and blood started flowing. Seeing the blood, Liang Zhengji squatted down and asked, I didn't mean to. Are you okay? I'll take you to the hospital. Xinyechen flung off his hand. Get out. I told you to get out. Liang Zhengji's temper flared. Fine Xinyechen, you're tough. You'll come crawling back to me. He slammed the door behind him. Xinyechen sat on the floor, wiping the blood from her forehead, then slowly stood up. Mommy, your head is bleeding a lot. Mommy, are you going to die? Xinyechen cupped his face and shook her head. Mommy's okay. Liang Jiran ran to get the first aid kit. Mommy, disinfect it. Xinyechen stood up, took out the iodine and antiseptic, and disinfected the wound in front of the mirror, then applied medicine. Liang Jiran hugged Xinyechen and blew on her injury. Ran will blow on it for Mommy, then it won't hurt anymore. His eyes filled with tears, as if he might cry at any moment. Xinyechen hugged him. Mommy's okay. Susi returned to class after 2 periods. Yang Shikuan glanced at Susi. CG, I brought you lunch, but it's cold now. It's not good for your stomach. I'll buy you something fresh next period. No need. I'm not eating. How can you not eat? Your stomach is already weak, CG. You'll get another stomachache. Yang Shikuan remembered the last time Susi had a stomachache. His face had been as pale as a sheet, but he'd insisted he was fine. Susi stared at Yang Shikuan for a moment, saying nothing. Yang Shikuan suddenly realized he had just spoken to CG in such a casual tone. He licked his lips, about to say something more when Susi said, I'm not hungry. Okay. Susi took a sip of his iced drink and fiddled with his phone. Near the end of class, a sharp pain shot through his stomach. He pressed his hand against it. Jiang Qiao noticed his movement. She glanced at him, then at the iced drink with condensation on his desk, before looking away again. Susi bit his lip, pulled out his jacket from his drawer, pressed it against his stomach, and slumped down in his seat. He was hoping to sleep until the end of school when a box of medicine was placed next to him. He turned and met Jiang Qiao's gaze. For stomachaches. How did you know I had a stomachache? I saw you rubbing your stomach earlier. Susi paused, about to ask how she had noticed, but seeing her clear eyes, he just murmured, thanks. Jiang Qiao hummed in response, placed the medicine on his desk, then turned back to her book. Susi held the medicine, glancing again at Jiang Qiao, who was quietly reading. He had only rubbed his stomach once and she had noticed. Jiang Qiao stopped writing, remembering something, and turned to Susi. Take 1 pill at a time. But medicine only provides temporary relief. It's best to eat something. Susi looked at her serious expression. Was she lecturing him? But she looked so earnest and well-behaved. Thanks. Yang Shikuan, sitting in front, overheard their conversation and turned to Susi. CGE, I'll get you some hot water. Susi was about to say no when Yang Shikuan ran off to the water dispenser with a cup. Hao Ming watched Yang Shikuan filling the cup with hot water. Tsk tisk, seriously young dog, you're so weak. Drinking hot water in the middle of summer. Yang Shikuan glared at him. Get lost. This is for CG. CG's stomach acting up again? I'll go buy him some medicine. Tell the teacher I went to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Yang Shikuan stopped him. No need. CG already has medicine. Hao Ming. Question mark. Who was faster than him? Yang Shikuan pointed at Jiang Qiao. Jiang Qiao gave it to him. She also said medicine only helps temporarily, and it's important to eat. CG actually listened patiently without arguing. Though it seemed this wasn't the first time. Hao Ming. If a pretty girl like Jiang Qiao told me to take my medicine, I wouldn't argue either. Get lost. Daydreaming in the middle of the day. Yang Shikuan placed the hot water on Susi's desk. There weren't any clean cups, CG, so make do with this one. Take your medicine. Susi took a pill, swallowed it, and drank some water. Thanks. He placed the remaining pills on Jiang Qiao's desk. Thanks for the medicine, little classmate. Jiang Qiao took the pills and put them in her bag. She had wanted to object to the little classmate label last time. She wasn't little at all, but arguing about it seemed pointless. She said softly, "You're welcome." Holy crap, did you guys hear? Susie totally cornered some kid from class 7 and beat him up. His face is all swollen. I heard the kid's a good student, even got a scholarship a few years back. Are you talking about Lu Xingfa from class 7? Yeah, that's him. Shua, Susie's coming. The boy wore his uniform with a casual indifference. His messy black hair contrasted with his pale skin, giving him an aloof air. After he'd passed, the others relaxed, unsure how much he'd overheard. Yang Shirkuan, who'd caught most of the conversation, was fuming. Those idiots are gossiping without knowing a damn thing. Susie should have pulverized that little bastard. He acts all innocent like a model student, but he's a disgusting piece of crap. He itched to confront them, to throw Lu Xingfa's vile actions in their faces and show them the truth. Hao Ming was equally angry. See, should we explain? Everyone thinks that jerk's the victim, that you're the bully. Susie glanced at them. Let them think what they want. He wasn't a saint himself. Besides, if the real story got out, that girl wouldn't be able to show her face at school. Lu Xingfa, did Susie really do that to you? A boy asked, looking at Lu Xingfa's swollen face. Lu Xingfa remembered Susie's dark eyes and his words from yesterday, and a flicker of fear ran through him. But then he thought Susie wouldn't dare tell, so he could say whatever he wanted. He touched his bruised face, feigning fear. Yeah, I don't know how I offended him. I've never even talked to him before. He just suddenly attacked me. My face still hurts. A slightly plump girl exclaimed. Whoa, that's messed up. He can't just beat someone up for no reason. Lu Xingfa whimpered. I don't know what I did to provoke him. Oh my god, your face is so bad. Shouldn't you go to the hospital? That looks so painful. You're so unlucky, Lu Xingfa. Surrounded by his classmates, he basked in their sympathy. People tend to side with the perceived underdog, assuming they've been wronged. Lu Xingfa was playing them like a fiddle. They were so gullible, swallowing whatever he fed them. News of Susie's fight reached class 17. Most of them knew Susie pretty well. He seemed indifferent to most things, but he was fiercely protective of his own. Earlier that year, when some kids from another class had started trouble, Susie, the perpetually sleepy kid in the back, had grabbed a stool and single-handedly taken them all down. Don't you ever mess with class 17 again, he'd roared. Even though he mostly dozed in the back row, no one had dared to bother class 17 since lunchtime. Lu Xingfa was regaling his friends with exaggerated tales of Susie's brutality, painting him as a vicious school bully. Susie and Yang Shirkuan had just bought their lunch when they saw Lu Xingfa enter the cafeteria. Yang Shirkuan felt like his eyes were burning from the sight of that disgusting excuse for a human being. Lu Xingfa met Susie's gaze, and a flashback of the previous day surged through his mind. Susie pinning him down, his fists raining blows on his face, the agonizing pain. Xingfa, isn't that Susie? The one who beat you up? A boy next to Lu Xingfa whispered. Yeah, that's him. Lu Xingfa realized they were in the cafeteria, surrounded by people. Susie wouldn't dare do anything here. As he passed Susie, he muttered, fucking motherless bastard. Susie glanced at him, then slammed his plate of food onto Lu Xingfa's head. Food and sauce dripped down his face. Susie grabbed his collar. Shut up. He threw Lu Xingfa to the ground. The commotion, following so closely on the heels of yesterday's rumors, instantly drew the attention of everyone in the cafeteria. Everyone stopped eating, eyes glued to the scene. Nobody could resist a good show. Yang Shirkuan exploded. Are you freaking stupid, Lu Xingfa? Didn't get enough yesterday? Had to run your mouth again, huh? Lu Xingfa, holding his head high, retorted. What did I say? What did I do? Why are you hitting me? The boy beside him chimed in. This is bullying. You can't just attack someone for no reason. This is outrageous. Even the mild-mannered Hao Ming was speechless. Attacking for no reason? That's rich. See, never hits people. Karma's a bitch. Don't blame others for your own shamelessness. Susie squatted down, looking at the pathetic Lu Xingfa. Keep pushing it, he warned softly, and I'll make sure you never set foot in this school again. Only after Susie left the cafeteria did the tension dissipate. The boy beside Lu Xingfa helped him up. Xingfa, this is too much. Shouldn't we tell a teacher? No. Remembering Susie's look, Lu Xingfa flinched. I just need to go change. My clothes are ruined. Want me to go with you? No. Outside the cafeteria, Yang Shirkuan was still seething. That idiot Lu Xingfa didn't get enough of a beating yesterday? He had to come back for more, then play the innocent victim. It's laughable. Susie remained silent, lips pressed together. Yang Shirkuan, still fuming, looked at Susie's grim face. See, don't worry about that idiot. He's not even human. And a good student? If he's a good student, then there are no bad students in the world. The mention of good student brought someone to Susie's mind, someone prim and proper, like a little kid. He said flatly, I don't care. She finally gave in. Mom, please don't do this. I'll go to school, okay? I'll go. Li Xian looked at her. Promise me you'll study hard. Qinlu said, each word distinct. I promise. I'll study hard. Li Xian hugged her. That's my good girl. That's Mom's good daughter. Tears silently streamed down Qinlu's face. As Qinlu walked toward the classroom building, the familiar sights of the school sent shivers through her body. She couldn't stop thinking about what might have happened if Susie and his friends hadn't shown up. She didn't even want to imagine it. Looking up, she saw him on the second floor. A figure she'd recognize anywhere, even in ashes. He had his arm slung around someone's shoulder, chatting away. She swayed and a hand caught her. A girl with clear, kind eyes spoke softly. Are you okay? Qinlu shook her head. I'm fine. Thank you. Jiang Qiao asked again, uncertain. Are you sure you're okay? Yes. Qinlu, you're finally here. You wouldn't believe what's been going on. You know Susie from class 17, right? Qinlu nodded. The girl continued. I used to think he was kind of cool, fighting and all, a bit of a bad boy. But it turns out he's a real jerk. He's been bullying people. He even dumped a plate of food on Lu Xingfa's head. Isn't that assault? It's just awful. Qinlu tuned her out. The boy who had saved her was now being painted as a bully, while the disgusting scumbag who had assaulted her was the victim. Li Xian had warned her countless times not to date. Focus on your studies, she'd said. Studying hard is your only way out. But whether it was teenage rebellion or the thrill of first love, she had started dating Lu Xingfa, a classmate. Both she and Lu Xingfa were among the top students in their class. He'd insisted they keep their relationship a secret. Qinlu agreed. She didn't want any gossip reaching Li Xian's ears. For a while things went okay. Lu Xingfa's grades remained strong, but hers started to slip. She was constantly insecure, overthinking everything. Seeing him talk to other girls filled her with anxiety. Coupled with the pressure from her teachers and Li Xian, she decided to break up with him. Lu Xingfa readily agreed and said he had something to give her. He asked to meet her behind the school gym. She never imagined that the seemingly gentle and kind Lu Xingfa would drag her into the equipment room and lock the door. It's after school. Everyone's at dinner. Even if you scream, no one will hear you. Terrified, Qinlu's voice trembled. What do you want? Lu Xingfa smiled, his face suddenly sinister. What do you think? Lu Xingfa gripped her chin. Haven't I been good to you? No. Then why are you breaking up with me? Because this isn't the time for dating. And my grades are slipping. Her falling grades had led to endless lectures from Li Xian, who constantly interrogated her about whether she was dating and demanded she break up with whoever it was if she was. Lu Xingfa clicked his tongue and slid his hand under her shirt. Qinlu struggled, but she was no match for his strength. He grabbed her wrists and tied them to a piece of equipment with rope. She sobbed uncontrollably. Lu Xingfa pulled out his phone and took a few pictures, a smirk spreading across his face. I wonder what everyone will think when they see the star student like this? Just the thought excites me. Don't you think? Don't take pictures. Stop it. Please don't. He pulled down her school uniform pants and lifted her shirt, holding her wrists tight so she couldn't move. See, do you hear something? Yang Shikuan glanced suspiciously at the closed equipment room door. Susie looked over, hearing rustling sounds and a faint cry. Help! Lu Xingfa clamped his hand over Qinlu's mouth. Shut up. You dared to dump me? Scream again, and your pictures will be all over the school's online forum tomorrow. Qinlu whimpered, tears streaming down her face. Susie turned to Yang Shikuan and Hao Ming. Kick the door down. There's someone inside. He kicked the door open. He stood there backlit like a hero. Yang Shikuan stared at Qinlu's disheveled clothes and Lu Xingfa's grip on her. What the hell are you doing? Why is she tied up in here? Susie glanced at Lu Xingfa, pulled him away and said to Yang Shikuan, hold him. Don't let him go. He turned back to Qinlu. Fix your clothes. Take your time. Tell me what happened. Qinlu straightened her clothes, struggling to speak through her tears. He dragged me in here. Took off my clothes. Took pictures. He was going to rape me. Susie's eyes flickered. Yang Shikuan checked Lu Xingfa's pockets and pulled out a phone. Unlock it. It's my phone. You can't just look through it. Susie looked down at him and punched him in the face. Unlock it. Lu Xingfa, a coward at heart, quickly unlocked his phone. Susie's voice was cold. Delete those photos. Lu Xingfa's hands shook as he navigated to his photo gallery, selected the pictures, and deleted them. Are there any others? Did you empty the recently deleted folder? Lu Xingfa shook his head frantically. No, that's all of them. They're all gone. Yang Shirkuan checked the phone thoroughly and nodded at Susie. Unsure how to comfort her, Susie looked at Qin Lu, who was still sobbing uncontrollably. Do you want me to call the police? Or get a teacher? No police. No teachers. Yang Shirkuan said. But what he did is a crime. If we hadn't been here he would have… You know. Qin Lu repeated. No police. No teachers. If this got out, Li Xian would lose it. She wouldn't care what Qin Lu had been through. She would only see her as tainted, damaged, disgusting. Susie was silent for a moment. We respect your decision. But I'll ask one last time. Are you sure you don't want to call the police? Qin Lu shook her head. No thank you. Susie walked over to Lu Xingfa and looked down at him. Do you know what you were doing? Lu Xingfa kept his head down, biting his lip. Yang Shirkuan spat. Don't play dumb. That's attempted rape. You took pictures of her too. Are you even a man? You're disgusting. Lu Xingfa knew who Susie was. He knew that crossing this guy meant a hospital stay. He knelt down and clung to Susie's leg. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have taken those pictures. I shouldn't have. I swear it didn't happen. Please let me go. Susie recorded everything Lu Xingfa said. Just in case the girl changed her mind later. Could be used as evidence. Susie kicked him away. Don't touch me. You're disgusting. He grabbed Lu Xingfa and started to drag him out when a hand tugged lightly at his sleeve. Please. Don't tell anyone about this. Susie replied. Okay. I'll keep your secret. He paused. Do you need to borrow my phone to call home? Thank you. Still shaken, Qin Lu took his phone. Qin Lu felt like she'd made a mistake. She shouldn't have asked Susie to keep her secret. He'd saved her, and now she was causing him trouble. He'd burst through that door like a shining knight, and now everyone saw him as a bully. It was all her fault. She saw Lu Xingfa enter the classroom and glance at her. His eyes filled with a sickening, slimy look that made her stomach churn. The memory of that day of Lu Xingfa's ugly face flooded back. She noticed a folded piece of paper on her desk. The latest test results. She unfolded it, saw Lu Xingfa's name near the top, and her own near the bottom. She crumpled the paper in her fist. Qin Lu, come with me. Her homeroom teacher, a stern woman with dark-rimmed glasses, placed the test results on her desk and pointed to Qin Lu's ranking. Do you see where you are? Qin Lu kept her head down. Yes. Qin Lu, you weren't like this before. I always thought you were such a promising student. Why have your grades dropped so much? Are you distracted? I spoke with your mother today. She said you didn't want to come to school. I've noticed you haven't been focusing on your studies lately. Qin Lu stumbled out of the office in a daze. Holy crap, did you hear? Something happened on the roof. What? Yang Shirkuan, hearing his classmate mention a suicide, asked in shock. From which class? Class 7, the girl replied. I heard she used to have good grades, but they've been slipping lately. Maybe the pressure got to her. Yang Shirkuan nudged Susie, who was playing on his phone. See, a girl from Class 7 killed herself. Susie's fingers stilled. He turned off his phone screen. Class 7. Yeah, Class 7. The two exchanged a look. Susie's suspicion was confirmed. It had to be the girl from the other day. The hallways were crowded with students. An ambulance waited outside. Feng Zixin, having heard the news, sighed. Seeing the students gathered by the door, he said, Back to class, everyone. Let's get inside. The students slowly filed back in. Class, if you're ever feeling stressed or troubled, please talk to your teachers, your parents, or your friends. Don't keep it bottled up. It can be dangerous. Susie and his friends knew the truth. It wasn't academic pressure. It was the trauma, the indelible scars left by that incident. Qin Lu survived. She opened her eyes to the sterile white of a hospital room. Li Xian's eyes were swollen from crying. Why did you do this? Why did you cut your wrists? Are you stupid? Didn't it hurt? A nurse gently reminded her. The patient has just woken up. Her emotional state might be unstable. It's best not to agitate her. Qin Lu stared blankly at the ceiling, then at her bandaged wrists. She had failed. She had been saved again. After a long silence, she whispered, Mom. Li Xian squeezed her hand. I'm here. I won't push you about your studies anymore. I just wanted you to do well, to get into a good college, to have a good future. I didn't realize I was putting so much pressure on you. Qin Lu shook her head. It wasn't that. Then what was it? Tell me. I'm your mother. Qin Lu's lips trembled and tears rolled down her cheeks. Is someone bullying you at school? I'll talk to the teachers. No. Susie had saved her, but now he was being unfairly accused because of her. She gathered her courage. I need to tell you something. You might be angry. You might think I've shamed you. But I have to tell you. After Qin Lu finished, Li Xian's body shook with sobs. She hugged her daughter. Are you crazy? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me what happened? Qin Lu replied, I was going to, but you insisted I go back to school and then, I didn't want to tell you. Li Xian was filled with a burning rage, consumed by regret. She wanted to strangle herself for not listening. I'm going to that school and tear him apart. How dare he do this to my daughter? If those 3 boys hadn't come. Li Xian's heart ached for her daughter. She berated herself for not listening that day. Mom, do you think I'm disgusting? No, of course not. It's not your fault. It's his fault. I'm calling the police. That animal is sitting in his classroom right now, while my daughter is lying in a hospital bed. Why hasn't he been punished? Mom, won't calling the police shame you? Don't think about that, sweetheart. Just try to sleep. The ambulance had barely left when the police arrived. Sirens wailed through the school. Everyone wondered what could have happened to bring the police to campus. An officer entered class 17. Is Susie here? Fang Zixin, in the middle of a lesson, looked up in surprise. Someone's here for you, Susie. Susie, looking as sleepy as ever, got up and walked out. Yang Shikuan and Hao Ming, suspecting what this was about, followed him out. We're going too, they told Fang Zixin. Fang Zixin sighed. All right. Everyone, let's continue with the lesson. The officer gestured to the chairs. Have a seat. Susie glanced at Lu Xingfa and sat down. You 3 were witnesses? Susie murmured. Yes. Can you briefly describe what happened? Susie's voice was calm and even. We were walking past the gym and heard noises inside. Then someone yelled for help. We broke down the door. He glanced at Lu Xingfa. We saw him trying to assault a girl. He'd also taken inappropriate pictures of her. The officer nodded, taking notes. Susie's account matched the girl's mother's statement. Lu Xingfa declared indignantly. Officer, they're lying. I never did anything to that girl. We barely even talk in class. I would never do something like that. I spend all my free time studying. I don't have time for that kind of thing. The officer had spoken to Lu Xingfa's homeroom teacher, who corroborated his story about his good grades and lack of interaction with Qin Lu. Then how do you explain the victim's accusation that you attempted to assault her and took explicit photos? Lu Xingfa pointed at Susie. He's always getting into fights. He must have threatened Qin Lu, which is why she tried to kill herself. And they beat me up. Look at my face. They did this. I have nothing to do with any of this. Lu Xingfa was a master at playing the innocent student. Susie had deleted the photos, and without any other evidence, there wasn't much they could do if he denied everything. Yang Shikuan laughed at his audacity. Lu Xingfa, cut the crap. You know what you did. Stop pretending to be a good little student. Lu Xingfa cowered back. You can't touch me. The police are here. Susie, tired of his act, said calmly. I have evidence. Susie pulled out his phone, opened a recording and played it. His own voice, tinged with coldness, filled the room. Do you know what you were doing? Then Yang Shikuan's furious voice. Don't play dumb. That's attempted rape. You took pictures of her too. Are you even a man? You're disgusting. Then Lu Xingfa's voice, devoid of the composure he displayed in front of the officer. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have taken those pictures. I shouldn't have. I swear it didn't happen. Please let me go. Qin Lu's sobs were audible in the background, along with Susie's curt question about calling the police. The officer taking the statement, a woman with sharp, short hair and delicate features, looked up at Lu Xingfa. You said you'd never had any interaction with this girl? Lu Xingfa froze, his knuckles white as he gripped his hands. Not much interaction, no. We didn't really talk. They forced me to say those things. They're always bullying people at school. They threatened me. I'm innocent, officer. Yang Shikuan's fists clenched, his knuckles cracking. He glared at Lu Xingfa. I've never seen someone so shameless in my life. Susie's reaction was far calmer. If I remember correctly, there's a security camera in the equipment room. Gao Shuangshuang, the female officer, looked at him. A security camera? Susie nodded. The school installed it a while ago after some equipment went missing. It's pretty hidden. Not many people know about it. Gao Shuangshuang immediately turned to the male officer. Go get the footage. Lu Xingfa, realizing he was caught, panicked. Don't. I confess. I confess everything. Gao Shuangshuang looked at the boy before her. He seemed so polite. A top student with a bright future. A good university waiting for him. He had thrown it all away. Why did you do it? She asked, bewildered. Lu Xingfa's face contorted with rage. Wasn't I good enough for her? Why did she just dump me like that? Acting all high and mighty, telling me never to contact her again. Why? Tell me why. That bitch was just playing with my feelings. Susie's voice was flat. Relationships are mutual. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There doesn't always have to be a why. If everyone needed a why, there wouldn't be any breakups in the world. Gao Shuangshuang nodded in agreement. Besides, you're in your second year of high school. You should be focusing on your studies, not these things. Lu Xingfa was taken away. He was facing at least 3 years. He had destroyed his own future. On their way back, Yang Shirkuan asked Susi, "See, when did they install a camera in the equipment room? I've never heard of it." Susi glanced at him. "There is no camera." "Holy shit, see, you bluffed him. That was brilliant." "Shut up." After Susi left, Class 17 erupted. "Holy crap, did that girl kill herself because of Susi? Why did the police take him?" Use your brain. What does that have to do with Susi? Maybe she was heartbroken because he rejected her? It's possible, though I wouldn't be too upset. He's like an iceberg, you can't melt him. That actually makes sense. She'll listen. What if she was his secret girlfriend, and they had to break up because their parents didn't approve? So she killed herself for love. Yeah, right. That's about as likely as the sun rising in the west. I can't even imagine what kind of girl Susi would like. I heard Lu Xingfa from Class 7 was taken away too. A moment of silence followed. Then new theories began to circulate. When Susi returned to class, all eyes were on him. His face was cold, his expression hard. He walked straight to his desk. Yang Shirkuan, overhearing the whispers, finally snapped. "You guys have such vivid imaginations, you should write novels." In less than an hour, they'd concocted a dozen different stories. Too afraid to bother Susi directly, they all pestered Yang Shirkuan. "Enough. Stop asking. The girl had nothing to do with Susi. He didn't do anything wrong." Yang Shirkuan looked at their eager faces. "If you're so curious, go ask him yourselves. Stop bothering me." "Yeah, right. Like we dare." Jiang Qiao remembered the girl. She'd seen her a few periods before it happened, and had even helped her when she'd seemed unsteady. She'd assumed she was just feeling unwell. She never imagined. She lowered her eyes to her textbook, then continued working on her exercises. Yang Shirkuan turned to Susi and whispered, "See, can we tell anyone what really happened?" Susi glanced at him. "Depends on what the school and the police decide to do. But see, everyone's saying you bullied her. And those idiots in Class 7 will probably say you beat up their precious Lu Xingfa and drove the girl to suicide." Susi's voice was nonchalant. "So what? I don't live for their approval. And the truth wouldn't change based on their gossip." Though they'd whispered, Jiang Qiao had heard every word. She paused, her pen hovering over her notebook. Curious. Jiang Qiao turned to find Susi looking at her with a playful glint in his eyes. She shook her head. "Not really. Lying isn't very good student of you." "I never said I was a good student." Susi chuckled, the coldness in his eyes melting away. "So you admit you're lying?" Jiang Qiao realized he trapped her. She pursed her lips, stared at him for a moment, then shook her head. "No, I'm not." Susi looked into her clear eyes. "I'm just messing with you. Go back to your studies." Jiang Qiao stared at the ink blot she'd made on her paper, then picked up her pen and continued with her exercises. Susi leaned back in his chair, playing a match-3 game on his phone. His fingers swiped across the screen, clearing blocks of color. "Great!" flashed across the screen. He paused, just a few moves from winning. "Why did that girl?" Susi turned to her, a hint of amusement in his voice. "Weren't you not curious?" "Never mind." The good student had quite the temper. Susi dropped his teasing tone. "Lu Xingfa." Surprise flickered in Jiang Qiao's eyes. "So that's why you beat him up?" Susi hummed in affirmation. "Why didn't you explain? Why let everyone talk about you like that?" Susi's voice was even. "It doesn't matter. What they say has nothing to do with me. I don't care. But doesn't it bother you to be misunderstood?" Susi looked at her and chuckled. "If you don't care, then it doesn't bother you." She supposed that was true. Jiang Qiao glanced at his game. "Clear these ones. You play this too?" "No." "So what do you do besides study?" Jiang Qiao thought for a moment. "Dance. Read." Susi couldn't picture this prim and proper girl on a stage, but reading fit her image perfectly. He followed her instructions, cleared the level and said, "Thanks, kid." Meanwhile, in Class 7, the rumors were less forgiving. Why did they take Xingfa away too? Yo Feng Enfumet. Why do you think? It's because Susi bullied him. But what about Qin Lu? She always seems so happy. Why would she do something like that? It's Susi's fault. He doesn't look like a good person. He must have done something to her. Do you have any proof? Stop blaming Susi without any evidence. If you're so sure, go say it to his face instead of gossiping behind his back. The speaker was Yu Xiao. He used to despise people who got into fights, but after some kids from another school had bullied his friend, and the so-called delinquents had stepped in to help, his perspective had changed. You're defending Susi so much. Are you his buddy or something? Yu Xiao scoffed. I'm just stating facts, unlike some people who spread rumors without proof. Who are you calling a rumor spreader? You know who. Don't spread lies without evidence. Yao Feng'an lunged at him, but Yu Xiao caught his wrist. The two boys grappled, neither willing to back down. Yao Feng'an was taller, but Yu Xiao was stronger. The fight escalated. Yu Xiao slammed Yao Feng'an against a desk, sending books scattering across the floor. A row of desks crashed to the ground. The girls in the back screamed and scrambled away. Several boys rushed in to break up the fight while others ran to get their teacher. By the time their teacher, Li Jie, arrived, the boys had been separated, but they were still glaring at each other. Li Jie looked at them sternly. Exams are coming up. And you're wasting time fighting? Come to my office. Both of you. She marched them out, each boy held firmly by the arm like a small child. Whoa, Ms. Li is terrifying, someone whispered. The class shuddered. Li Jie looked at the two boys standing before her with their heads down. Well? You were quite eager to fight a moment ago. Tell me what this was about. Yao Feng'an spoke first. He called me a liar. Li Jie narrowed her eyes at Yu Xiao. Is that true? Why did you call him a liar? It wasn't just that. Lu Xingfa and Susi were both taken away by the police today, and then, with what happened to Qin Lu, everyone's been gossiping. Yao Feng'an kept insisting that Susi bullied Lu Xingfa and drove Qin Lu to suicide. We're supposed to be educated people. He's spreading baseless rumors without any proof. Doesn't he realize how damaging that can be? Li Jie nodded. You're right. Yao Feng'an protested. But Ms. Li, Susi isn't a good person. He beat up Xingfa for no reason. And a few days ago he dumped food on Xingfa's head. That's bullying. Li Jie tapped her fingers on the desk. I think you have some misconceptions. Lu Xingfa is being expelled. Yao Feng'an's eyes widened. Expelled? Why? He's the victim. Why? Does Susi's family have money or something? Can he just do whatever he wants? Li Jie's face was grim. This was the school's decision. Lu Xingfa not only violated school rules but also broke the law. His actions had a severe impact, and the school will not tolerate such behavior. The official notice will be sent out to all classes soon. You're old enough to understand how damaging rumors can be. Don't spread misinformation without proof. It's irresponsible. Susi, on the other hand, acted admirably in this situation. Susi? That's impossible. Li Jie gave him a sharp look. That's the truth. Lu Xingfa attempted to sexually assault a girl. If Susi hadn't intervened, he might have succeeded. He's been taken into police custody and will likely face several years in prison. Qin Lu and Lu Xingfa were secretly dating. He was manipulating her, and the whole situation along with other pressures led her to attempt suicide. It had nothing to do with Susi. It was entirely Lu Xingfa's fault. Sexually assault? That's impossible. Xingfa would never. He's not like that. Why didn't Susi explain? Why didn't he explain why he beat Lu Xingfa up in the first place? Li Jie smiled faintly. Appearances can be deceiving. Are you saying you don't believe the police? Susi didn't explain because he was protecting the girl. If the truth got out, how would she be able to face anyone? Yao Feng'an fell silent. He'd been completely played by Lu Xingfa. Mom, what did the police say? Li Xian stroked Qin Lu's hair. He's been arrested. He'll be in prison for at least 3 years. No, I mean, what about the boy who saved me? What did the school do? Did they clear his name? So many people are saying bad things about him because of me. I don't mind if people know what happened to me, but I can't let him suffer because of it. He saved me. I can't repay kindness with trouble. Lulu, your teacher messaged me. The school will issue a statement, but they'll protect your privacy. They'll announce that Lu Xingfa assaulted a girl, and that Susi intervened. They'll say you were stressed because of the breakup and Lu Xingfa's actions, and that you were under a lot of pressure, which led to your impulsive act. Qin Lu murmured. That's good. That's good. Even if the school revealed everything, she wouldn't mind now. Lulu, I know I put too much pressure on you. I'm sorry. I'll withdraw you from school for a while, and we'll go somewhere fun. Li Xian had pinned all her hopes on Qin Lu's academic success, pushing her relentlessly without ever considering her feelings. Now she realized that Qin Lu's happiness was more important than any test score. Qin Lu shook her head. I'm okay, Mom. I want to go back to school after a while. Okay, Rulu. Whatever you want. That evening the school's announcement reached every classroom. Li Jie addressed her class. Put down your pens, everyone. I have an announcement. She held up a sheet of paper. This is a disciplinary notice. This incident is very serious, and it involves one of our own. Disciplinary announcements were common, usually read aloud by the homeroom teacher as a warning to the class. Yao Fing'an and Yu Xiao both knew what this was about. They exchanged a look, each with different thoughts running through their minds. Lu Xingfa from Class 7 has been found guilty of gross misconduct, specifically attempted rape. This is a serious violation of both the law and school regulations. The school administration has decided to expel him. The class was stunned. The boy they had just been pitying had done something so horrific. Li Jie continued. I've also heard some false rumors circulating, claiming that Qin Lu's suicide attempt was Su Si's fault and that he's a bully. These are baseless accusations. The truth is, if it weren't for Su Si and his two friends, that girl would have been. As for Qin Lu, she was struggling with the pressure of her relationship with Lu Xingfa, and his actions understandably caused her immense emotional distress. While I don't recommend dating in high school, I'll say this. Girls, please choose your boyfriends carefully. The class buzzed with hushed whispers, but no one dared to speak up while Li Jie was still talking. In Class 17, Fang Zixin addressed his students. I have an announcement. The students looked up at him expectantly. Fang Zixin cleared his throat. A student from Class 7 has been expelled for gross misconduct, specifically attempted rape. Whoa! What? Attempted rape? That's the guy who was crying about Su Si bullying him. Disgusting. The room erupted in chatter. Fang Zixin slapped his hand on the desk. Quiet. Let me finish. The class settled down. Fang Zixin glanced at Su Si in the back, who showed no reaction. He smiled. I also want to commend 3 students for their bravery. Su Si, Yang Shikuan, and Hao Ming. If it weren't for them, that girl would have. Yang Shikuan wanted to march over to Class 7 and shove the disciplinary notice in the faces of everyone who had accused Su Si of being a bully. Fang Zixin continued. But that's not all Lu Xingfa did. He was also dating Qin Lu from his class and manipulating her, constantly putting her down. Then he does this. Truly, you can't judge a book by its cover. I knew Su Si wouldn't beat him up for no reason. Holy shit. I'm so pissed. I argued with some idiot from Class 7 today who said Su Si drove that girl to suicide. I wanted to punch him. It was all Lu Xingfa's fault. What does it have to do with Su Si? That poor girl. I want to slap all those gossiping idiots. Yang Shikuan muttered, remembering Lu Xingfa's smug provocation in the cafeteria and his subsequent act of innocence. Su Si's expression remained unchanged. He paused slightly when Fang Zixin mentioned the incident, then went back to what he was doing. Fang Zixin, seeing the commotion, didn't try to restore order. This news was shocking. It was natural for them to react. He looked back at Su Si, slouching in his seat with a detached expression. His sharp features and the occasional bruises on his face gave him a rebellious air. But as his previous teacher had said, he wasn't a bad kid. Yang Shikuan turned to Su Si. That bastard Lu Xingfa got what he deserved. I was so angry when everyone was blaming you without knowing the facts. Su Si's voice was flat. I don't care what they think. Yang Shikuan knew Su Si didn't care, but he still felt furious whenever he heard people badmouthing him. Su Si was looking at his phone when he heard someone softly say his name. He looked up at Jiang Qiao. What? The school's version isn't entirely true, is it? Su Si looked at her with amusement. Oh? How so? It's strange that Qin Lu knew what Lu Xingfa had done. Couldn't she have just seen it? Too many inconsistencies. Jiang Qiao paused. But I understand why the school is protecting her. Su Si understood what she meant. He smiled. Pretty smart. He'd forgotten. The good student had been top of her class. I just noticed some things that didn't add up. It was a guess. Jiang Qiao added quickly. But I won't tell anyone. Su Si hummed. I know. Class 17 buzzed about the incident for the rest of the period. That evening, Qin Lu received a flood of messages, all condemning Lu Xingfa and encouraging her to recover quickly. Her classmates assured her they were waiting for her return. Whoa, check out the hottie at the door. Damn, she's gorgeous. Who's she looking for? Definitely not you. Screw you. Obviously, I know that. The girl at the door wore a black and white dress, her fox-like eyes slightly upturned, her features striking and elegant. She knocked gently and asked politely, Hello, teacher. May I see Jiang Qiao? Her smile was captivating. Li Qiuhong, the teacher, called out, Jiang Qiao, someone's here for you. Jiang Qiao looked up at the familiar voice and saw Jiang Zhishu's bright smile. She got up and went to the door. See? Beautiful people hang out with other beautiful people, Yang Shikuan remarked. But there are exceptions, Hao Ming said. How so? Hao Ming laughed. Like Su Si being so handsome and you. You jerk. I'll pound you after class. Yang Shirkuan glanced at the teacher, then back at Susie. The boy's messy bang softened his sharp features. The cuts on his face had scabbed over, giving him a rakish air. You're full of it. Susie is the most handsome. On the rooftop, Jiang Qiao hugged Jiang Qiao. Miss me? Kiddo. Missed you, Jiang Qiao replied, her eyes crinkling with a happy smile. But how did you end up in City A? Because some little ingrate transferred here without telling me until it was done. And didn't I say I'd visit when I had time? Jiang Qiao giggled. Jiang Qiao pinched her cheek, then frowned. You've lost weight again. Are you eating properly? Jiang Qiao shook her head. Yes, I am. Though her health had been declining, and she sometimes threw up after eating. You're very busy, right? Why don't you stay at my place for a few days? Jiang Qiao smiled. I'm not leaving. Jiang Qiao stared at her, stunned. What? I'm staying. You're here, so I'm here. Her Qiao Qiao didn't have much time left. Even if it was only for a few days, she would stay by her side. 10 years earlier, shortly after Jiang Qiao's mother died, her father gambled away their savings and racked up a mountain of debt. Fearing creditors, he'd moved them to her grandmother's old house. He was a drunkard and a gambler, either stumbling home intoxicated or taking out his frustrations on Jiang Qiao after losing at the gambling den. One night, in a drunken rage, he'd smashed everything in sight and locked young Jiang Qiao out of the house. She sat alone in the dimly lit hallway, hungry and scared. She would never forget that night. As she sat there, a little girl in a white dress appeared and offered her a carton of milk. Are you the new neighbor? Here, have this. Jiang Qiao hadn't replied, but the girl sat beside her and said, This is my favorite milk. It's really good. Don't you want it? The milk was strawberry flavored, still warm from the girl's hand. 4 days afterward, Jiang Qiao remembered the girl in the white dress and her sweet smile. That little girl had entered her life and stayed for years. Jiang Qiao's father continued to drink and gamble, sometimes beating her. From a young age, she dreamed of escaping him, escaping that life. Her only hope was to grow up quickly. Then she met Jiang Qiao. Later, she discovered that Jiang Qiao's life wasn't perfect either. Her parents were always away, leaving her in the care of a housekeeper. When Jiang Qiao graduated middle school, Jiang Qiao was still in her second year. I'm not going to high school, Jiang Qiao had told her. Jiang Qiao had given her all her saved Lunar New Year money, tens of thousands of yuan. I have money. You need to finish high school. Jiang Qiao had ruffled her hair and smiled. I'm not good at studying. You're the smart one. You should study hard. Jiang Qiao started working as a waitress. Every weekend, Jiang Qiao would come to the restaurant, sitting with her small backpack, doing her homework, looking adorably studious. She'd occasionally glance up and smile at Jiang Qiao. One night, a drunk customer grabbed Jiang Qiao's arm, trying to grope her. Jiang Qiao jumped up, whacked his hand with her textbook and said coldly, Sir, this is a restaurant, not a place for you to harass people. If you want entertainment, go somewhere else. The man started to protest, but the manager appeared. What's going on here? Jiang Qiao said clearly. This man is drunk and harassing the staff. This is a respectable establishment. His behavior is unacceptable. The manager, who knew about Jiang Qiao's difficult situation, glared at the man. Sir, if you continue this behavior, I'll call the police. The man, who was clearly feigning drunkenness as an excuse, backed down. Jiang Qiao, usually so gentle, was fiercely protective of Jiang Qiao. On their way home, Jiang Qiao held Jiang Qiao's hand, her eyes crinkling.